came at a good time. As usual, I have the great and powerful Evan Carpenter here with me. And we
Hey,
also have
Alice.
a very special guest, Mary McGuinness is here. Thanks for being here, Mary.
Hello, everyone.
I saw your set at you did an acoustic thing at the last First Friday at Underdog. And we talked a little bit then, and I've been looking forward to doing this. Your music, it touched me. I was very gripped by what you were doing. So
Thank you.
yeah, just thanks again for agreeing to do this.
Thank you so much. I think when I saw you, I think I was waiting online to get pizza, and it's very good, by the way. And I remember I said, I think I was singing to you because you were kind of in the middle of the audience and you were wearing that very cool hat, and you kind of had like a light around you, I swear. And I just saw you, I think when someone's on stage, if they see someone who is really like, paying attention, and it's like, it's like so it's such a gift to the performer up there. So anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you were pouring your heart out. It was very gripping. Um, yeah. Also, that pizza was great.
And the pizza was good.
What kind of music did your was in the house when you were a kid? Like, I've learned not to ask people what their influences are, because a lot of the times when you ask an artist that, they don't even know. But if you,
Really?
I
I
think,
definitely know what my influences are.
okay. Well, let's start here. We'll go back to your influences.
I'll give you a long-winded answer. No, I'm kidding. I grew up with my grandparents. So I grew up actually with a lot of like big band music and kind of really what I considered very old-fashioned music. I didn't appreciate it when I was younger, actually. I appreciated like Frank Sinatra and stuff, but some of the big band stuff was like just too much for me. But then I grew to really appreciate it. And I also had an aunt who lived in the house who was a Beatles fanatic and listened to the Beatles 24/7 on vinyl. So I'd have to say that also was a very big influence on my love of the Beatles. See, I have like I can't see myself on the screen, so I haven't hung. I just got some of my hangings out of storage, but yeah, Beatles definitely like first and foremost, and then I'm a big vinyl lover, and I released my record end of January, and it's coming out on vinyl, I think end of April. So
Wow.
I'm really psyched about that. And yeah, but no, I won't go into my influences. I mean, there's a lot of them, so.
Okay. So, yeah, big band and the Beatles in the house. That's
Yeah.
and
I
okay.
mean, and of course, like everything that's being played. I mean, I loved everything from like the Beastie Boys to Public Enemy to like hip hop, like old school hip hop to I love Cat Stevens and James Taylor and Carole King and Carly Simon, and I love like cinematic music. Like I'm a big fan of Ennio Morricone, all that, like The Mission and Cinema Paradiso and all that. I don't know. I love all kinds of music. I'd have to say classical. I went to school for classical music, and I just really love all kinds of music. If it's good, it's good. I feel like
Yeah.
so maybe everything kind of has influenced me.
Mary, you're also a really good songwriter. Like, what of those influences most influences your writing, like your writing style?
Oh wow. Yeah, also a huge fan of the Eagles. I'd have to put them at the top too. Glenn Frey. Um, I was lucky to see their last show together at the Forum in LA, not knowing it was going to be their last, run there. I think their writing. I think like Graham Parsons. That's why I love that whole Laurel Canyon sound. I know, like Joni Mitchell,
Sure.
Crosby, Stills and Nash, and
Yeah.
Linda Ronstadt is one of my favorite singers. I feel like, I mean, that's music I never get tired of listening to. And I feel like there's always more songs that I haven't, heard or, listened to. Chris Christopherson. I remember first seeing him when I was little, like in A Star Is Born. And I was like, who's that? And sorry, Bradley Cooper, but yeah. Chris Christopherson, man, in that movie. And I think he was really living it too. Like he really was an alcoholic and he really was like his marriage was breaking, it's like he was really the real deal. But I mean, there's so many great songwriters, and it's one of the reasons why I moved to Nashville. I moved here like a little over a year and a half ago. And it was really to be in, I think, the last city where it's songwriting is like, one of the main focuses here. I think that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Like it.
Well, we're very happy to have you here. It is it's a very it's not enough just to be good these days because it's so saturated. You have to be good at what you do and also be doing something engaging and interesting enough to, because there's a bunch of really talented people, and unfortunately that's not the most successful people all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
sure.
sometimes I guess it depends on the genre too, but there's a lot of I don't know, just like industry plants that they just kind of I don't want to say they're overrated, but it's kind of like there's a lot of great music that that I'll never hear, you know. Um, so yeah, like for example, some of the best stuff, some of your favorite artists you might just find at a small bar like Underdog or something. It's Nashville's a magical place for sure. Um, it's we have so many talented people here. I'm very grateful to be here as well. I grew up about an hour south of here, right above Alabama. Evan hails from Rhode Island.
That's right.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's go visit my great grandmother, my great grandmother. Anyway, she lived in Rumford.
Rumford? Oh,
Rumford, Rhode Island, I think. Is that Rumford? Rumford?
Rumford. I'm not sure. There might be just somewhere on the sticks. Let me look up Rumford.
But
Oh, I see. Oh, it's in East Providence. Okay, yeah, totally.
I mean, that's from like a million years ago. So
Sure,
but
sure.
yeah, Rhode Island is so pretty. I mean, all New England is so beautiful.
Beautiful state. Yeah, it was really nice growing up near the ocean. I actually got here about a year and a half ago too. Yep.
Oh, wow. Are you a songwriter as well, or?
No, just friends with some of them.
Just love
very,
music.
Yeah,
Just need a lot of support.
I'm an audience member, man. Someone's got to do it, right?
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
Evan's very humble about it, but he's a very talented visual artist. He actually did the graphic design for my t-shirts, the Rabbit Hole t-shirts coming soon.
Yeah, you can pick one up at the First Friday show.
Yeah, hopefully. This show.
I will, for sure. So that's the first time it's coming out?
Yeah, hopefully I'll have them by then. I'm not 100% sure I'll have the t-shirts by then, but fingers crossed.
We'll get you one for appearing on the podcast too. No problem.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy to like support a good cause. So
thank you.
To buy one. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. As I was telling you beforehand, we talked like a lot of philosophy here. I think it's such a wasted opportunity to have like a talented artist on and only talk about music. I think it's like we could go some like very deep places, and we will. But like for example, we're talking about Nashville and how it's such a powerful place. Fun fact, Native Americans did not live here. They would travel long distances to bury their dead here. The first people to settle in Nashville were settlers. Um,
Whoa.
it's a very, yeah, this is an energy well. I've heard a lot of people say that Nashville is hard to get away from. Like if you move away, you'll come back. Um, that's kind of like a superstition about it. Uh,
Oh.
but there's a
Just
very
that energy vortex. I mean, kind of like what they say, you know, like I love Sedona, speaking of aliens, as you were saying. And I have a good story. And I mean LA, but I could definitely see that. I mean, it's such a, there's so much creativity here. If you think about it, you know, when you're just driving around, you think of all the artists who are here working and creating. I mean, there is something to the frequency here.
yeah, for sure. Let's get into your alien story. I'm fast.
Well, it's not that fascinating, but anyway, went to Sedona, loved it there. But I actually, you know, I got on this alien tour to go check out aliens. I think the woman who was doing it did it like, I don't know, once every couple of months. She didn't do it all the time. And she's someone who was hardcore. Like she had been, you know, living in an RV and chasing aliens and UFOs and everything for like 30 years. So she's no joke, you know? And basically gave us those green light goggles, like only the military has them.
Night
And
vision.
we're with another, what are they called?
Night vision goggles.
Night vision goggles, that's right. And they're in all the movies and stuff, right? And was with another couple who were from Montana, who I just met. And I put these night vision goggles on, and man, they definitely saw UFOs. It was pretty mind-blowing. I think we were all like screaming up and down in this parking lot. I didn't really expect to see anything. I just had my hot chocolate and I was like, okay, I'm just hang out. Maybe I'll see. I don't know what I'm gonna see. But it was pretty, it was pretty mind-blowing to see it. These were not stars, they were not asteroid, they were not, you know, it was, they kind of went into like formation and then like zoomed and then like one flew around. It was really, and you know, none of this is visible to the naked human eye. Like you look up at the sky, you have no idea this is going on. It looked like a beautiful, and she said it was such an incredible night to see this because the conditions just happened to be so perfect. The skies were so clear, but you know, it was a beautiful clear night with stars. But then when you put these goggles on, and she pointed to them, but you could see there was no, you can't fake that. That was, I mean, they were literally, they went into a formation, into like a half arc, and then like it was crazy. So
That's giving me chills.
in that, you should go to Sedona. It was oh, and it happened to be the night, it was crazy. It was the same day that they announced that the, I guess CIA was releasing all the files, or that they had that secret agency that, you know, they made everyone think they were crazy. And oh, well, actually, you're not crazy. We've had this agency here for, you know, that was the day that came out. So I just thought that was crazy synchronicity that all happened.
We actually, that's funny you'd say that. We actually we did a live podcast and read those documents on the episode when that released.
Wow.
Yeah, we spent hours covering it. Yeah,
What did you think? Like, what, I never read any of it. You know, I never read any of the documents. I mean, I've seen, you know, shows or some of the document. I'm so funny. I have this little ladybug. I don't know. Can you see me? There's a little lady.
Hold it a little higher.
I don't know. I can't see myself on the screen. So just
Right,
was
right, just a
crawling
little bit.
across my little computer. I have to let her just kind of, or he,
Speaking of alien invaders,
take it as good luck.
you're under attack.
What was there anything really interesting or anything that really stood out to you?
Yeah, so Congress had they had to do this, like because of Congress. Like, and UAP report, it it defined it as unidentified aerial phenomena. That's the UAP. And they gave examples of things that have been UAPs and are no longer because they know what they are now. Like there was a blimp that they didn't know what it was, and then they found out what it was. So that's no longer classified as a UAP. And based on the report, what it sounds like, the way it's worded is, if they know what it is, then it is not a UAP. So if you know that this is like an alien vehicle, that's not a UAP. It's not going to
Because
be
they know it's an alien vehicle.
exactly.
You guys mind if I tag in for a sec? I got a quote from the actual report here.
Yeah.
So in the report, they say there's one section, it's just headed UAP probably lack a single explanation. The quote, the UAP documented in this limited data set demonstrate an array of aerial behaviors, reinforcing the possibility there are multiple types of UAP requiring different explanations. And then they list a few things it could be, such as airborne clutter, natural atmospheric phenomena, USG or industry developmental programs, foreign adversary systems. Quote, some UAP may be technologies deployed by China, Russia, another nation, or a non-governmental entity, or other. Quote, although most of the UAP described in our data set probably remain unidentified due to limited data or challenges to collection, we may require additional specific knowledge to collect on, analyze, and characterize some of them. No mention of aliens or extraterrestrials. They intend to focus additional analysis on a small number of cases where a UAP appeared to display unusual flight characteristics.
Yeah, it it was very lackluster. They did not talk. They wanted to, like, hey, they wanted to say they did it, but not actually get into it, you know?
I think a big thing too was they had to make this report because our military was seeing these things that are basically defying like the laws of physics as we know it, you know, and it could be a foreign adversary. Even if it's not aliens, it's something that they had to look at.
That's even more terrifying than it being alien.
Yeah. If it's domestic, I mean, that's pretty scary too. Yeah.
If another military, which to be clear, I don't think that's the case. I think it's aliens.
But, you don't think the call's coming from inside the house?
I mean, yeah, if China has anti-gravity propulsion, they would already run the world. There's nothing we could do about that. Like, they would just come and take over. The implications of that technology, if anyone has that, the war is over. You've won. Whoever gets that technology first has won. That being said, I think I'm a big believer in this stuff. And I think that our government, the US government, Chinese government, Russian government are in possession of these crafts, but I don't think they've created them. I think that they have recovered them, or perhaps even given them.
There's well-documented retrieval programs. There's been a few stories about that too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure. I think there's too many, and there's too many documented like interviews and accounts by people who are very respected. These were, people who were pilots and these are people who did not believe in that, and they, come on these programs and they are like, I saw this, so sometimes we don't know what we're seeing. Who knows if there's some other explanation that we're not aware of? You just never know, like, what lies behind the veil of our existence. But yeah, I mean, I think it's more feasible to just realize, like, of course, we're not alone in the universe. Like, why would we be alone in the universe? I think there's probably millions of galaxies that we haven't discovered yet. I just find it strange that people would think that there's not a possibility of aliens.
It's statistically impossible, actually. With the scale of the universe, it is
Yeah.
actually
Other life
mathematically
forms. Yeah.
impossible for us to be the only intelligent life out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. What so we're on the same page that we're being contacted by extraterrestrials or of some nature.
I haven't been contacted personally, but that they are, I do think that
With
they,
humanity. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
Mary, are you familiar with the work of Stephen Greer? He's
mm-mm.
like one of these former CIA guys, or NSA or something. But like a guy who's well respected in his field, and now he kind of does like what you did in Sedona, bringing people out, giving them the night vision gogs, and like looking up at the sky, and you can make contact. And he's a big kind of spiritual kind of guy, so he thinks you kind of meditate and get yourself into the right headspace and connect with them. It sounds like something you would dig.
Thank you. We didn't do that. This lady, I wouldn't say she was spiritual, in that sense. Like, we definitely didn't do any meditation or even, try to contact them in any way. I think it was just about seeing them and pointing it out, seeing these. It was really mind blowing. It's one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
What obviously none of us know, but what do you think they're here for?
I like to think that I think it's observation. I think they're probably very curious. I think they probably listen to, I've always felt like they must listen to our music. They must listen and see the news here. Um, I, I just feel like if they meant harm, that they would have harmed us already. If anything, I think they probably helped us because we're the ones that keep getting ourselves into a big mess. So the help of no outside entities. We don't need anyone's help on that one. So I like to think of them as being either looking at us as like, guinea pigs or, just, I think they're probably much more advanced than us and probably taking a interest in what we're doing. I don't know. I
It
don't know.
would be a fun thing to observe. Our Earth is just constantly emitting radio and like Wi-Fi signals and stuff. You can just watch and listen into anything. You're in the atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, Earth is so rich in culture. It would have to be interesting, right? If nothing else, it'd just be like, wow, look what they're doing. Yeah, they're they're big fans of like David Bowie.
You're like, he got us, man.
This guy gets it.
Totally. You know what? If there's anyone that they would have loved, it would have been David Bowie. That's
Yeah,
yes.
I love Bowie too. He's one of my favorites.
Dude,
Too.
he's like the last great magician. I think he's one of the last dudes of Aleister Crowley and those guys kind of breed. I think he was very into that kind of stuff.
Well said.
Aleister Crowley?
Yeah.
David Bowie?
Yeah. So I think David Bowie, he was big into magic and spiritualist kind of stuff. Like he reported doing
Aleister
his own kind of
Crowley is
work.
like the dark, a little more dark
Yeah.
magic.
Yeah. Like I don't know if he was totally on board with his shit. I'm not quite sure what the real machinations of his magics were. But I just know he practiced that kind of stuff.
When you
Oh,
compared him to Crowley, you mean he's kind of just on the level of power that Crowley was on.
Yeah. Yeah, doing rituals and making it work for him. I mean, if you look at a lot of his songs, songs like Changes, that's about, making changes and acting on them. I don't know.
My favorite
Someone
Bowie,
else.
my favorite Bowie track is "A Width of a Circle." Um, oh man, oh, it's very powerful.
Of a circle.
Yeah, just give you yeah, check it out later. But there's a line in there where this is not an exact quote, but he says, "I saw a monster sitting beneath a tree. and I looked and saw that that monster was me. And I said hello, and I said hello, and I said why, and I said I don't know. And then a raven cackled Khalil Gibran, which Khalil Gibran is yeah. So he's, oh man, just that alone, like you could sit there and analyze. But the way that goes down is he sees this monster, he recognizes that that monster is himself, and then he says, then God did take my consciousness for a ride, and we crashed 1,000 yards below. And then what happens there is, have y'all ever seen that Little Nas video, Montero?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, it's based on this Bowie track. And basically what happens is Bowie, it's a very sexual song. Like he has a sexual encounter with the devil. Um, yeah, y'all just have to check it out. It's fascinating. Um, but I mean, he was such a like prolific and well-known figure, but he was saying things that are very esoteric that like not a lot of people really understood what he was saying. I love that kind of stuff. Like I love when an artist like one of my favorite bands is it's it's almost like a guilty pleasure for me because they are very like poppy and mainstream. Is AWOL Nation, and
Heard of them. I don't really know their stuff, but I've definitely heard of them.
they're deep cuts. Like some of their more obscure tracks are so good. It's a very like it's like a very poppy, very accessible kind of sound. But if you sit and listen to what they're talking about, it's like, oh wow, like y'all are in it, y'all are really into some like deep esoteric knowledge. I love stuff like that. It's like it's right underneath people's nose. Like they put it right in front of you, and you don't even realize what they've done. It's fascinating.
Hey, just to be clear, AWOL Nation, they did the sail. Is that
Yeah.
that one? Yeah,
That's
okay.
that's their most popular song. Yeah, that one's good too. I like that one a lot. But there's more obscure tracks on that record that are very deep. Like one called Windows. How we're all windows to the same thing. That's I'm very big into that concept. Actually, before you got here, Alice, Mary was asking me about reincarnation. We were talking about past life progressions, and the question was whether I think that reincarnation is true for everyone or if it's true to me personally. And that's a really good question. I'm not actually sure how I feel about that.
Wait, hold on. Say it again. Reincarnation isn't true for everybody, but it could be true for just you.
Not just me, but like Mary was
I
asking.
think the question was how do you, when we start to speak about past life regression and reincarnation, I said, what were your thoughts on reincarnation and how do you feel, you know, what is your viewpoint for yourself with reincarnation? Like, so I guess, I don't know if that was so clear or not, but
I probably misunderstood the question. But
no, I think, no, you did understand the question. Yeah, I think you did get the question for sure.
I think
How do you feel?
well, had a DMT experience. I've had many, but one of those experiences, I was shown that we are all the same thing. And this makes sense to me, just logically, this makes sense to me as well, even without this anecdotal experience. But I believe that we are all the same thing, experiencing itself through different points of view. Like, and we can call that God, but it's like a group consciousness. And I think what makes us different is like things we go through in life, and also like our biology. But I think the soul is a blank slate. I think it is a piece of a larger thing. And we're all just kind of experiencing ourself through different angles. Life is a way for, I'll just use the word God. Life is a way for God to understand itself. I get to also, in this experience I had, like I was alone in the universe. It's like, and I was all there was. And that's a very lonely feeling. It's like profoundly lonely. So I think creation, like life exists so that consciousness can pretend that it's not alone. So I can pretend like I'm me and you're Mary and you're Evan, instead of just being one thing by itself. This is a way to not feel alone.
So life is just one consciousness and a bunch of its imaginary friends.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
but those are also versions of itself in different bodies.
Yes. That part.
Yeah, it's just so this consciousness would just be talking to itself.
Yes.
All the time.
Yeah. I think there's no separation between creator and creation also. So like this table is also God. Everything. There's only one thing. It has many, many faculties. But it's just one thing interacting with itself. So anyway, long-winded answer to your question. That being said,
go ahead.
That being said, I've definitely been here before. This isn't my first rodeo. So I don't know where to put that I don't necessarily think these ideas are in conflict. They might just run together. So maybe the version of God that is me did not return to the hive mind, return to nirvana. Maybe it just came back here again. Something like that. And is that making any sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Listening.
Right. Okay. Just making sure.
Going down the rabbit hole, so we're listening.
Did you ever tell us what you believe happens when you die? Like when you do you get we were talking about resurrection earlier. I don't think we ever actually heard your viewpoint on it.
Well, I do believe in God. I think for many years, and whatever you want to call it, the divine, the one, all being, universal, everyone has, but, for the longest time I didn't, I was raised Catholic, and I became a Buddhist for a while. I did, I've just, like I said, always been a searcher, but I have come back to God and whatever that is for everyone, but I think I believe we're never alone. I believe that one of the songs, not to talk about music, one of the songs on my record that I wrote was called Double Vision, and it was because I felt like I had an experience with an angel. And I'll tell it quickly, but years ago I was waitressing in New York, and I fell asleep on the subway, and to the end of the line, which was just a bad area in the Bronx. And I woke up, and I remember looking around, and there was no one in the subway car. And I get out, there's no one on the platform. And I look across. First of all, I had no money on me. I guess I could have jumped the turnstile or whatever, but just to cross the street to get to the other side to take the subway back it was so bad. There was just a lot of bad stuff going on in the street. And I was just kind of standing there, I remember just really frozen and not knowing what I was going to do. And all of a sudden there's a man next to me. I mean, you have to say there was nobody. And he's standing there in a orange vest. And he says, you know, you look like you need some help. And I said, I do. I don't know. I'm going to get home. Duh. And he says, oh, well, let me call you a gypsy cab because normal cabs didn't even come to the area. So, you know, it seems like a few minutes, there's a gypsy cab. And I said, you know, what's your address? Or can I send you a check? This was like before Venmo. And he said, oh, you know, don't worry about it. And I get in the cab and I turn around to like wave or something, and there's no one there.
Whoa,
Whoa,
There was no one
that's
there.
crazy.
holy shit.
It was crazy, and it changed, you know, and I thought about it, and it changed me. It really did affect me. I don't know if it quite sunk in it was so surreal, and I was
Yeah.
kind of, but when I think about it, I really know that, you know, help came to me when I needed it. At least I can tell, I get just like choked up when I talk about this.
Sure.
I really feel like that angel, whatever you want to call, I think was an angel for me, really saved my life. And I feel that there have been a few times in my life that I believe those hunches or that voice you hear is not always from you. Because sometimes, you know, I hear a voice. No, I'm kidding. But it's like, it's, you know, I do think, anyway, you know, I would rather live with, you know, I have friends who are atheists. I have friends who are this. It is much more comforting to me to feel that there is a purpose here. There's a purpose for us, that there is a universal source. And I do really believe that. I just feel that there's too much evidence otherwise. I mean, it's like something I read, like, do you make the leaves grow? Do you make the you know, flowers bloom? Do you make the water go? Like, you know, really, how is it that all of this happens? How did all this start? I mean, there's so many mysteries and I think magical, wonderful things. So, you know, I've walked both paths and I'd much rather be on the path of faith, not in the faith of like the typical, like, not everyone needs to go to church to have, you don't need to go to church to have faith. You don't need to have
Sure.
people tell you what to do to have faith. You you look at yourself in the mirror every day and you know what's in your heart and you know the path that you walk, right? And so I think that's I think it is our relationship with ourselves, but we are of the universe, and that in that way we are all connected. And I really feel that. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've woken up in the night. I knew there was a friend I had that I hadn't talked to for years, and I contacted her, and I woke up one night and I knew like she was having a problem. She was like, yeah, she's like, I was going through a divorce. I hadn't talked to
Wow.
her in years, but you know, how do these things happen? Like, and people say, oh, it's not a coincidence. We are connected. I mean, if you choose to like listen to your intuition and those hunches, I mean, to me, um, that is your help, that is your guide often. So, and you know, by all means, you know, we all have our struggles and our struggles to believe, and, you know, certain days we wake up and we're just like, you know, it's like, you know, the world can be very overwhelming, but there's a reason we're here. I do really believe that. And I believe, like, for me, one of the things that I'm here for, I have felt, is music. I mean, that's why I've, you know, stayed in whenever, even though it's so much struggle, you know, and rejection and all the things that, you know, but as artists, we do it because when we have those moments of flow and creativity, and when we're in the flow, right? That's just how I'll say it. It makes it all worthwhile. But to me, that is very godlike. That's very, to me, that bliss when we reach those moments in whatever we're doing in all different ways, I feel like we're experiencing
Yeah.
what our experience is supposed to be. And I don't know, like my one question is always like, but why are things so hard for some people? Why is there so much brutality in the world? Why is there, like to me, I don't understand that. I don't understand why do some people have it, so easy, where they have no clue, and then some people have it so hard. They're born with all kind, it's like I don't understand, but I have to feel like there's some purpose for that. I don't know what it is though, that's for sure. I don't know much. I'm just sitting on this show and I don't know much. I'm just gonna say so,
No, I like the way you put that. You mentioned a universal source at one point. I thought that was a good wording for it too. Whether it's like capital G God or some combination of other things, it's universal, and you feel that connection. It's a beautiful part of
yeah.
life.
And I think everyone has the term or whatever it is that they're comfortable with, or when they talk about spirituality, which or someone says it's often it's the same thing, and we're all wanting, I feel like that same
I totally agree.
wants to be, and we all want to be included. We all need that connection. There's a reason when babies aren't hugged for, when they're first born, they die, and I feel like it's and when they look at all those people who live in those blue spot areas who live past 100, the number one thing with all of them is that they all have like very close community. They all like spend a lot of time. I think that we've wandered away from that. I think with a lot of technology, we spend a lot of time alone. Technology kind of makes up for that lack sometimes in our lives, I know, it has for me. It's been very lonely here sometimes in Nashville. My friends are in LA and New York and stuff. And so, you're on social media, so it's like, but it's not the same thing as being here and talking to you, even though we're on Zoom but it's still that connection and you feel it.
Yeah.
And it makes you it makes me happy,
I think it's very important. Like not a lot of, I mean, I have conversations like this, but not everyone does. Um, Not a lot of people are having like real conversation. Even though we're connected through social media and the internet, we don't have a lot of deep connection these days. And I think this kind of stuff is very important. I also think what you do is extremely important. Um, I Live music saved my life. Like I wouldn't be here without live music. Um, I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness, and I was also homeschooled. And I moved out when I was 18, and I knew nobody. I knew nobody at all. And I started going to shows here in Nashville, and that became church. It's a spiritual connection. So I say all that to say what you do is extremely important and it saves lives. You never know what kind of how you might what someone who sees your show might be going through,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah,
It's music that saved my life as well. And I really feel that way. I feel like if I hadn't had the purpose of music, I don't know. I had a very turbulent childhood, I'll put it that way. And as we've all had our things that we've transcended, right? But I feel that the most important thing for people is to feel that they have a purpose. And if you don't, it's so hard to find your feet. You can just feel like you're going to float away. That's a very tough way to live. And So I think finding your purpose, I think, I think that's sometimes the biggest thing for people. And I feel very blessed that I was given something that was kind of obvious to me. And even though I've stood on the mountaintop and been like, can I do something else? Please, this is so hard. It's like, I can't. I don't really feel like I can do anything else as well as I want to.
I
It's
think
like the
that's
soul.
for sure. I think that's the mark of a true artist is you're not doing this because it's fun. You're doing it because you have to. You have to do this. It's not an option.
It's
It's, art can be. I'm not a musician, but I write poetry, and I'm working on a novel right now. But
You're an artist. You're both, everyone's an art, like, and it's our own thing. Wait, so you're writing a novel?
yes, I'm working on a fantasy novel, and also I'm a poet. I do standalone poetry as well. And I say all that because it's compulsory. I have to do that. It's not always easy either. When you're writing something personal and emotional, like that can be really painful. But it's I have to do that. I like I'm driven. I'm compelled to do that. And I can see that that's the same with you. Um, but
The same thing, it's like you don't know how someone who's reading your poetry or your work is going to feel, and you don't know where that person is, or if they read or hear something that's going to turn them around or give them hope. And I think it's only when, there's some people, I don't know if they've ever been to the lowest of the low, you know? And, but I think like, to know the highest of the high, or to have like sometimes real compassion for what people are going through, and to even try to imagine being in their shoes, you've had to, my favorite people, they've just, it's incredible what they've gone through in their lives. I think that's, it's just gives people a lot of depth.
I've had it. I'm very blessed. Um, like I have a lot of really great friends, and compared to a lot of people, I've had it very well. But when I look at the suffering in the world, it's really hard for me. Like I'm deeply empathetic to. It's like you said, some people get the short end of the stick, and they have it very difficult. And I have a real problem with the injustice in this world, and I do this to kind of bring awareness to it, and do real what I've realized is realistically this is all I can do, is kind of try and connect with people and also just spread love and knowledge, you know. I read a lot and I try to like learn as much as I can and then share that information with other people. But it's life is very it's hard. It's hard to see what goes on in the world. And I think about this stuff like all the time. I have a very hard time relaxing. Um, I have a good time, like I go to a lot of shows and I have fun, but I have a hard time relaxing because
Like turning off your
yeah,
mind.
yeah. I it's because I was raised very Christian and I'm grateful for that. I have a good healthy relationship with God. But there's a scripture, I can't remember, it's in the New Testament. I can't remember where exactly, but once you become aware of things, and it basically, if you're aware of a problem and you don't do anything about it, you are blood guilty. You are guilty for that. So I'm aware of certain things. So I have a responsibility to fix it. And I feel that. I feel that at my core. Nothing I do will ever be enough. That's some Aries stuff right there. That's an Aries thing. I will never be satisfied with my own. Nothing I do will ever be enough, but that's okay. That's the Aries, when they see a mountain, they go climb it, and then they see another mountain in the distance and they go climb that one. Uh, so, but I mean, all that to say, like I just do what I can, and I really, again, I really appreciate what you do. It's very important stuff. I think it's not understood how important like music is to the world. It heals.
Do you ever read, thank you. Do you ever read all of David Hawkins?
No,
Is it Power versus Force?
no, I'll write this down. I have a list.
Yeah, I think in that book, stuff is great. But I haven't read it for a long time. But the only reason I bring it up, and I don't know how he came about this, but you can look it up. Evan, maybe you, since you're on the,
Oh yeah, I got you.
there's a chart. Let me look. Dave Hawkins,
Is it this
energy.
kind of upside down pyramid looking chart?
Yes, energy.
You want to share your
Uh,
Evan?
yes. So
Sure.
he
Yeah.
says, like that you vibrate, there are certain people that vibrate at certain energies, but the point is like one person, this isn't most likely not a famous person. One person's energy can lift up, if they're on a certain number of this scale, can lift up 1 million people.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
he found he's devoted his life, and he's the real deal. If you read Dave Hawkins, scientists, whatever, he found that someone who, resonated, he had numbers for like, I forget, the lowest energy was shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, blah, 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 anger. Then it goes up to courage, neutrality, willingness, acceptance, love, joy, peace, then enlightenment. He said probably Jesus and different, vibrated at that level. And I don't know how he came to this chart. It was very interesting. There's something, but he said certain masters resonated at certain levels, but it does make a difference. So it's like whatever you do, you have no idea. You think, I'm doing what I can do. I'm just doing this show. But you don't know, by your energy, you could be actually just some people that go and they're in a state, like, right, you're in Nashville, right? Just by whatever, you moving here, you lifted the energy of maybe, 100,000 people and you don't even know it.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Like, you have no idea. It's very fascinating, Dave Hawkins. So
Hey, Alex, I'm sorry. I'm not the host, so I can't share my screen. Do you want to maybe pull up that
Yeah, drop
chart
it in
on
the
your
chat.
screen real quick?
Yeah, to drop it if you'll drop it in the meeting chat, I'll share
Sure.
it.
Yeah, I'll copy a link to the image.
That's awesome. Maybe we'll do either David Hawkins or Dolores Cannon for the book club sometime. Both
oh
of them.
yeah, Convoluted Universe. Yeah, that's the book. It's the first one. Might not be the best. I don't think it was my favorite, but I like the Nostradamus predictions. I thought that was pretty wild.
You don't see my screen?
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, this is pretty amazing. I like this.
And I don't know how he tests for the level. I forget, because it really has been a long time since I've read these books. I don't know, it could probably be through a pendulum or different things. I don't know the energy, but what I remember and what I took away from that, why it made an impact, was I remember thinking, be someone who's just whatever, Joe Schmo or Jill Schmo, whatever, and thinking they're not doing anything great with their life, but their energy, they're resonating at this frequency of whatever, and say, inner light, and that lifts up all these people just by their energy. So it definitely makes a difference.
There's a lot of truth to this. Man, it's sad because we all know people that are on a low resonance as well, that are going through difficult times. It's everyone. I think people are good. I'm a big believer in. I'm a humanist. I believe
Me
in the
too.
in the good of people, and I think when people do bad things, it's out of desperation. It's out
It's
of,
very disappointing.
yeah,
I think that's what shows you're a humanist when you're disappointed by humanity.
yeah,
Because it shows
Hmm.
that you have a lot of faith and belief in humanity. Because
right,
how I feel. I feel disappointed.
yeah.
Really?
It's like when I see evil, I see a troubled child that never grew up.
Mhm.
I
Hmm.
see someone who is suffering. Um, man, this is,
Sometimes some unrealized potential.
yeah. This is a very emotional episode. It's good stuff though.
How you know you're talking about things that mean something to you, though, you know?
Yeah,
Hey, actually, I got a philosophical question I want to run by you guys. So, if we think about humanity as a large connected kind of thing, like a collective unconscious that we've kind of touched on a little bit here, is it not our duty to basically fix ourselves and to look at these like bad times in the world that are, entirely our fault and correct and essentially grow, mentally like an individual would and increase our frequency and ascend that way? If we think
That's
about
what
humanity
he
as one
speaks of in
organism.
that book. You nailed it. He basically says, like, you cannot control. It's like that saying, right? What maybe it was Khalil Gibran. It's like be in the world, but not of the world, or be right, or you were of the world. I think I'm messing up the whole quote, but yeah, I think you know what I mean, the one I mean. And it's like we are in this world, but it doesn't mean we have to be sucked into the vortex of what, it's and same as that's why the news, social media, that's why it can be so negative because it's constantly bombarding our consciousness with that
yeah,
instead all the good. And I believe there's a lot more good in the world, but it's not news, right? So,
yeah.
um,
Sure.
yeah, that's how we do it is we work on ourselves. We do the best we can do. There's so much around us that we can do, but it's fixing ourselves, or just, we're doing our best, you know.
It starts with you. Yeah,
Yeah, we totally agree.
yeah. It's the world, and that's the thing is like a lot of the suffering in the world is not. It doesn't have to be that way. Um, I I've I have a strong sense of justice, and I like confronting evil. I like, and I understand that this is a darkness. This stems from a darkness in me where I actually like conflict. I like conflict resolution. Um, but I direct that energy towards things that actually need to be confronted with, because that is an energy that is in me, and if I don't purposefully direct it towards the people that need to be confronted with, like the government, uh, for example, it will that energy will come out on the people I love, and that's not good. So I um, anyway. I say all that I like to fight. I'm a warrior, but I choose to take on evil, um, and I think we're all doing a little bit of that, because the world doesn't have enough heroes. There's a lot of people making the world worse. And I don't know, to me, like the concept of Jesus is kind of like the ultimate hero, like self-sacrifice. Like maybe these kind of conversations will get me assassinated one day or something, like John Lennon. But like I don't know how to do anything else. This is what I've dedicated myself to. Yeah,
Calling.
I I wish we had more time. We'll definitely have to do this again soon.
Thank you.
Real quick, now that we're on short time, I wanted to ask, these ideas that we talked about today, do you ever write any songs about this kind of stuff? Does that come across in any of your songwriting at all?
Double vision, like I wrote a song called Spellbreaker, which is
Mhm.
also on record. It's just about God, basically. Um, yeah, I think it has pervaded my songwriting a lot more than I realized, I think, now that I think as I get older, I realize how much a part of it, how much it does it does influence me very much, whether or not your deep beliefs do, you know, but it's not like what I write about all the time. But I think we all have our own sense of right and wrong and what we believe is, you know, so it's yeah, I think music is what they say, you know, feeling, the music is feelings put into words, right? So that's what, you know, we're all trying to do to the
Yeah,
best.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
what we did here tonight is important. Check out Mary McGuinness. She has a new record coming out soon.
Oh,
Uh,
it came out
oh,
end of January,
okay.
January 6th, yeah.
I will put that
Being Shadow Catcher that you can find on all platforms.
Anywhere you stream music, you can find it.
excellent. I will put a link to that beneath this video. So as soon as you're done watching this, go check that out.
Well, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I really had fun
Yeah.
talking with both of you and it was really nice. Good vibes
I would love to do this again sometime.
for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
And I know next Friday is your birthday, so I'm going to try to make that. I know I
I
have
think it'll be the Friday after next. It's April 4th and 5th is the
yeah.
two
Oh,
birthday days.
that's next Friday, right? Next Friday?
Mm,
Oh,
no.
it's Saturday, so
Oh, wait, is that next Friday? No, no.
Saturday? The 5th?
That'd be 2 weeks from now. Today's
it
the
would be like 12 or 13 days from now. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So next Friday is the 29th, the one after that.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't
I
matter.
don't have a calendar in front of me. I can't even like what.
I'm the tech guy here. I'm pulling up screens and stuff.
And
Yeah.
happy birthday. May this
Thank
next
you.
turn
Thank you.
around the sun
Oh,
bring you infinite blessings.
thank you so much. Oh, I meant to ask you earlier, what's your sun sign?
I'm a Scorpio, but I am like 6 minutes from a Sagittarius. I'm born almost at midnight. So yeah.
Cusp.
Yeah, I'm like super cusp, like literally like this. And I have a lot of Sagittarius in my chart. So I would say I'm probably a lot more a Sag.
I got a lot of Libra in mine. It's a lot of duality. Aries sun, Libra moon, Libra rising.
Oh, okay. But that Libra moon is so lovely. I have a Gemini moon. I have so many friends with Libra moon.
What's your
Libra
rising
moon,
sign?
a Leo.
Okay.
Yeah. And but yeah, Libras are just lovely. They love all things beautiful. I have so many good friends who are Libra moon. And yeah, they're so good at talking with people and bringing people together, you know, they're connectors and yeah. Yeah, I could see Libra ascendant as well.
Yeah, I see you and I appreciate you.
Thank you.
You too, Evan. You're always doing these. I appreciate you too, man.
Hey, no worries. Glad to be here.
You guys are
Appreciate you
really,
too.
really great. And I'm really glad I came onto the show. And
You're
yeah.
welcome at my table anytime. We'll do this again soon.
Okay.
Alice, check out Mary McGuinness. I put a link down below, and we'll see you next week.
Wow.